This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is February 27th, 2023. I'm Noah.
Xavier.
Logan.
Jesse.
And we got a special guest on today.
Surprise, it's me.
Surprise,
Welcome back, our most common guest.
It is Jacob. Hello.
Welcome again.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Growing the beard back.
Yeah,
Looking
I'm gonna
nice.
get it. I'm gonna give it a trim soon, but
I
I like to see it. You know.
Now, do you like the beard? Like, do you want to be like those people with just sharp ass beard lines up top, down below, everything, or you like it kind of
Rugged.
like a
Depends
woodsman?
on the day. You know what I mean? My girlfriend would probably like it to be clean shaven, but I like it rugged. Makes me want to go camping.
I feel like I need to post a picture of Jakey after this on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Hit me on IG. I don't have one.
Dude, I actually shaved my head and my beard for the 75 hard. I'm just gonna let it grow and see how
nice.
far it gets.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can actually get a beard like yours.
Yeah?
It's so luscious and beautiful.
You're gonna look like a convict. You already do.
I know. Dude, I had this X on one of my name tags, and I put T's on the top, and it totally looked like a swastika. Somebody at work, one of my customers was like, "Is that a swastika?" I was like, "No, it's an X." And they're like, "It totally looks like a swastika." And you shaved your head. I was like, "Oh, this looks real bad."
You look like a skinhead.
Oh no.
Question is, do you run the ovens or are you running to the oven?
I'd like to think I saved the juice.
Of course.
I saved the juice.
How is that 75 hard going?
It's been going pretty good. I failed yesterday, but the 6 days were awesome. Went off drinking and sugar and all that stuff for about 6 days, and it was great just having cold shower every day. I'd never skipped a cold shower, so every time I'd get in the shower, it was a little cold, and then towards the very end, I'd just slam it to the freezing, freeze my ass off, then go back to medium cold, but I never did a warm shower, so that was good.
How long did you do it for? The cold shower?
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, being in the cold, so I just wouldn't do warm. So it wasn't
Right.
extreme cold, but it was cold the whole time, it lasts a lot less than my warm showers do. So
Yeah.
it's 5 or 10 minutes of being cold.
Which feels like forever.
Yeah.
In a cold shower.
And what I learned is going to the gym is going to be your best friend if you're taking cold showers, because then you don't mind. Because I hate cold.
Yeah, it's a lot
Anything
easier
cold.
when you're just overheated.
Yeah, and I would get in the sauna, and then I'm just so hot that I'm hop into a cold shower, and you're like, oh, this is so epic.
Yeah.
But joined the gym, felt great. It was just going from second you wake up to the second you go to sleep, and it feels good to actually do stuff. Because when you get home, you just kind of sit around. With the 75 hard, you're thinking oh, after I get off work or before I go to work, I have to work out. I have to drink a gallon of water. I have to read a book. And you're actively, I don't know, it got me more active and focused on things. And I felt more awake than I usually do. And not drinking especially, you don't feel like shit the next day. You're not eating sugar, so.
Was it more challenging to jump into doing all of it at the same time than you think it possibly would have been to do a couple things at a time? You know what I mean? Instead of going off of sugar and alcohol and taking cold showers and drinking a gallon and working out every day. Do you think has it been easier for you to jump in both feet first, or do you think it would have been easier for you to go into that transition, to be able to keep it consistently, of introducing one thing at a time?
I think it depends on your personality and how you are. I don't like the slow. If I'm doing something, I want to jump in and just fucking do it. If not, then I don't like the slow. Because then I give myself excuses the whole time, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow,
Yeah,
but if I'm okay, I have to do this, then it's a lot easier. And I kind of did that with this, is I went the week, failed yesterday, and I was okay, what do I need to consolidate? And kind of step back from that's too much. And smoking was one of those. I was trying to go off smoking, and I did for a while, the Zins, but I was this is so stupid. Everything just sucked. I was life sucks. I'm not drinking, which I love to do. I'm not eating sugar, which I love to do. And I can't smoke. Fuck this shit. It sucked. So I was all right, I'll just slowly introduce
By
the
the way,
like Zins or
baby
gum.
is sleeping.
Oh.
So if we can
Yeah,
try.
okay. You know who I am. I'll stifle my laugh.
We'll try. At least till she wakes up.
Yeah, that's been the biggest struggle. Is the nicotine.
The nicotine, yeah. Well, I've heard it's been a pretty big influx. You know what I mean? Like with the vapes specifically, like addiction rates are extraordinarily high. Like I wasn't even aware of how high they really were, but it's just like it sounds like the majority of people that are on it are having a harder struggle to get off it than most people with cigarettes and stuff like that. Even actually recently, I've been off it for probably a week and a half now. Mostly because my body just can't hack it. I was getting real bad bloody noses, and I was like, what in the hell's going on? And they were like extreme, like to the point, you know, when you have a bloody nose that just won't stop. And I was having those like every morning. I was like, okay, we can't just be losing a liter a week, you know. I'm not that
wild.
guy. But anyway, so I was like looking it up. I'm like, what in the hell? Where is this all coming from? You know what I mean? And it was like, well, do you vape? And I was like, no. And it's like, well, if you did, what could be happening is it dries out the back of your nasal passages and gives you pretty aggressive bloody noses. And I was also getting this real bad gut cramps from it. And I was like, it's got to be from something else. Nope. The moment that I hit the vape, my stomach was off. So out of necessity, I've been able to pull away from it easier than, you know, out of want.
That makes sense because, like, if like I'm a heavy smoker, obviously, I smoke like before I go to sleep, and you'll wake up with extremely dry, like your mouth's extremely dry, your nose feels weird, and you're just extremely dry in the morning. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and which is kind of interesting because I've been smoking both, or I was smoking both. You know what I mean? A little bit of grass and a lot bit of nicotine. But the nicotine was what was doing me in. I was like, I can't keep going on that anymore. It was messing with my body. I was a little bit worried I was maybe getting some sort of ulcers or something like that. So I was just like, oh well, take a step back at least. You know what I mean? And most of the things have seemed to negate themselves. But
Yeah.
pretty interesting though.
Yeah, I can imagine addiction's way up with it though, because you can do it vape inside. It's easier to hide. It's just you don't smell. You don't ruin furniture by smoking in your car. You know.
Yeah.
It just seems like
Well,
it's just way easier.
It's
And
starting in the schools. That's the
It's
the
easier
biggest
to get a hold
deal.
of for the youth too. Yeah.
Yep. It's indoctrinated from the very start.
Well, and with flavors like pink cotton candy and bubblegum surprise, I mean, come
Yeah.
on now. This is Jolly Rancher flavor. Do you want it? No, I'm a little kid. I hate candy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think California completely is trying to put a stop to all the flavors. They said that I had a customer say that they can't get any Zins in California that are flavored. They
Really?
only have the cool or the smooth or whatever it is.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't want the flavors.
right, but you can just smoke weed.
Yeah.
I know it's not.
Well, California's stupid, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's all
Yeah.
pick your poison.
Well, that's pretty interesting. But they tried to do that here too, didn't they? They were trying to get rid of it cold
Like-
turkey for a while. Like at the beginning of it, they tried to kick it, you know, by pushing it back to 3%ers. But it didn't
Yeah,
work. It didn't
no.
work for shit over here.
Well,
But
there's
Utah's
still
always doing
5%ers you
that.
can buy at the store.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is it illegal now? Because I
It
don't
was
know.
supposed to be, or they were trying to
yeah.
make 5%ers illegal.
But then most of the shops just didn't comply, and what are they going to do, you know? Go around to every single business and pull it out? It seems like they just did it kind of peripherally, you know what I mean? Like,
Even
hey,
though-
no more.
Even the ones that did, you just go and be like, "What do you have in the back?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, here's a book of all the 5% we have." Like,
Yeah.
Well, also,
nobody
yeah.
stopped doing that.
Well, all that stock, you know, they got all that back stocked in there. Like, I went to one of the places, and this was one of the only places that did the switch from what I've seen. But they were like, oh, yeah, we have boxes and boxes of it we have to get rid of. And
You're
so,
like, let me help you.
Yeah, I was. And he was
I'll
like,
take
I'm
a
sorry,
box.
dog, we can't. I was like, well. But,
Just wait till you're off the clock.
yeah, I know. But, yeah, I was pretty surprised with, like, the amount it was getting to me. I mean, obviously, you know peripherally that things aren't doing great for you. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, this probably isn't a wonderful idea. But I feel like as people, at least I think it's a kind of a human trait, but for me at least, I've noticed this in myself. Like, consequences are only obvious if they're happening to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's easier to confront a tangible thing than it is, like, if something's abstract, which I think is probably the disconnect with people and money. It's like, this is a representation of wealth. You're like, nah, this is thing. It's in my hand is paper. I can get things with paper. So I think it's probably something similar, like with me, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'll do this until it gives me an issue, and then I'll move away from it. Well, there's some things that you can do that, and then once it starts giving you issues, you might be a little bit past the pullback point, my friend. So I don't know. I'm definitely not out here like, don't do drugs, kids. But I am saying that I've actually been surprised by what the results have been personally. You know what I mean?
Yes, don't do drugs, kids. Once you're past 18, then.
Oh
make your
yes.
own
Well,
choices.
clearly, but I'm not the dare officer, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that obviously you don't want to do that in your youth, but clearly, as people progress into their adulthood, obviously that's an option that they have. But I feel like it's mostly firsthand experience. I mean, you can be taught things, but oh man, does it make a lot more sense to your brain when it hits you in the face.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but why not do drugs? Because they're the freest people, I'd say.
Huh?
I said, why not do drugs? Because they're the freest people.
What?
I'm
Are you
confused.
saying that people that do drugs are the freest people?
Yeah, because they don't do anything but drugs. Like, they don't have a home, they don't have bills to pay, just drugs.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So why not
Talking
do
hard
drugs?
stuff.
you have the freedom to be homeless, but I don't know what kind of freedom it is necessarily.
Yeah, but a lot of the homeless people do it by choice.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen a lot of interviews like that where it's like, no, I choose to do this. This is my chosen lifestyle. I mean, it just depends on what you're willing to give up for that freedom. You know what I mean? I really enjoy sleeping in a bed and having food every day. That's important enough to me to give up some of my freedoms, like that. You could have total freedom and no possessions, and there's actually probably some beautiful things to be said about that. I mean, there's a lot of monks and spiritual leaders that have gone that route, and it's supposedly pretty rewarding. But just
Were they
for
in
the
cold climates though.
I'm not sure about that, but I know that it wasn't for in search of hedonism. It seems like, but
What's that?
hedonism is just a kind of abandonment of any sort of structural guidelines to seek your bliss, essentially.
Basically, do whatever
Do
makes
what
you
that
feel
was,
good
yeah.
in the moment.
Yep.
It's throwing all the rules to the wind. Just says fuck it.
Well,
Yeah.
just essentially, hedonism is you do what gives you pleasure with disregard any consequence. It's pretty much just what makes you feel good.
Which I disagree
That is a
with.
terrible idea.
Oh yeah, but people do it. I mean, obviously.
It's a,
Right, but
it's a
that
whole
is-
philosophy.
Huh?
I said it's a whole philosophy.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people follow that.
Mhm.
I disagree with it personally, but
I don't.
to each their own. Choose your
Do
own
they
adventure.
actually follow it though?
Huh?
Because that would be acting upon impulsive thoughts too, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
exactly why it's dangerous.
And so then I don't believe that nearly anybody does it.
No, I would agree with you. No one is completely one. You can't strip away all of your tidings. You know what I mean? You can't be just one thing completely. No one's an absolute. But clearly, you could at
Right.
least do mostly hedonistic things. You know what I mean? You do because there's the law, so people have to follow that to some degree, or they're not going to be able to be a hedonist. So you do as much hedonism as you can, I'd
Yeah.
imagine,
I mean,
if you're a
it's
hedonist.
just like Christians. Like, you're
yeah.
not going to follow the rules completely 100%.
Yeah.
But you can still call yourself a Christian.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because that's what you believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose there's some justification for that, but
I don't know.
I would imagine there's some of each. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of hedonism's good. You know what I mean? You want to have a little bit of pleasure in your life, enough that you want to keep doing whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? To give you the fuel to give a shit to keep going. Because if there's no reward for your action, then clearly there's no reward for your action.
Atlas shrugged.
You can also change that which gives you pleasure. Change your mind in such a way that the things that'll be good for you later on are what bring you pleasure.
Oh yeah. It takes
You know?
it takes a fair amount of discipline though, and you have to sacrifice other things in the short term, which is a thing that most people don't do, and I would argue that a lot of times I don't do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, I can sit here and eat this pizza, or I can get up and do 20 push-ups. You know what I mean? Like, this pizza looks pretty fucking good.
I like the look of it, of the way Ayn Rand puts it. I don't like it when people say you have to sacrifice things. You have to sacrifice this to get this. Because the way she looks at it, and what I really agreed with and liked, is she says, if you're doing it for a better purpose, something that's going to make you happier, are you really sacrificing something, or are you just choosing something different? You're not really sacrificing, or giving up something. If you're choosing the path that's going to make you happier in the long run, you're not sacrificing anything.
You're sacrificing the short term, though. I would argue. I would argue you would sacrifice some sort of short term pleasure, and like Noah said, you could clearly change what, like if I hate to work out, and I started working out and made it a regimen and ended up enjoying it, then I've changed my motivational pleasures, right? But even still, you have to make that decision. There is that switch there, and at one point you're going to value what you're doing over what you want to do, because obviously you haven't started doing the next thing yet. So in some sense, it would be a sacrifice, I think. I don't think that there's any way to just switch completely cold turkey without feeling some, because there's a reason people haven't chosen to do the next thing yet. There's a blockage. What's the blockage? Well, I can stay and do this, and it's enjoyable enough. You know what I mean?
I think
risk versus reward.
If you get so completely obsessed with a goal or like something you're going towards,
Mm-hmm.
everything else just fades away. It doesn't matter at that point. Then you're not sacrificing anything. You're just like, okay, what's going to get me to that goal the quickest? What do I need? What do I need to do or to not do to get to here? Point wherever it is.
Well, and I mean, fair enough, but you'll have to have a motivation that's sufficiently compelling. Like for most people, you're living your day-to-day life. What is a sufficiently compelling goal? Well, it's not the threat of survival, essentially. Like it might be in the long term, but it's not. Like I said, it's not a tangible thing. It's not close up enough to you. It's just the idea of it might be structural to your survival. So you're like, maybe whatever. But you'd have to have something in the moment that's driving enough, or you'd have to be a person whose
Extremely
mind
self-discipline.
Yes, mind is driven enough that it's like, you have the Goggins of the world who just are like, it's fucking happening, or God can't stop me type people. You know what I mean?
I think it just comes down to how bad do you want it.
Yep.
Like how bad do you really want it? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it worth giving up all these bad things, or like negative habits that you do have to get there?
Habits that, or even they might not be negative. They just might be habits that don't align with your goal. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things too. I mean, it's easy to landscape something as positive and negative in the short term. Be like, hey, because this isn't congruent with my goal, then it's negative. But say you have something that's not congruent with your goal, like someone in your life. They're not necessarily a negative thing, but they're not pushing towards that goal. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's someone that just isn't on board with you, one of your friends or whatever, and you're trying to move towards a certain goal, and that person doesn't go on board. Well, they're not necessarily a negative thing, but they're not congruent with your goal. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's true to an extent. You know what I mean? In my experience, at least.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to do the foundational things? I know I just jumped in a little bit.
That's fine.
Okay.
Wonderful. Working out.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
Would you point it?
Oh, I didn't point.
Anyways, Logue, didn't you've started doing something new lately, right? You
Yeah.
switched your focus, I believe, right?
Yeah, I did. Me and Noah did my first flight, and he gave me a tour of the school that I'll be going to. It was fun.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Thank you for
cool.
all of the information. What did you enjoy most about the flight? Just the feeling, or what?
It felt like a roller coaster that was in my control.
Oh yeah.
That's
So,
fun.
it was fucking sick.
That's dope.
But yeah, I'm gonna be excited about it once it actually starts.
Yeah.
Until then, it's just an idea, like I said.
Yeah.
But the flight was super cool. Never thought I'd be in that position, so it was fun.
My favorite part was when we were holding short of the runway, and I was like, "Okay, say this
Yeah.
to the tower," and you're like, "Huh? Wait, what?"
Yeah.
It was fun.
That was fun. And then the hard turns, those were sick. I don't know.
Steep
just
turns?
Steep turns, yeah.
Did you guys do any barrel rolls?
I wish.
Nope. You'll do spins later in CFI Academy.
For real?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have to. You have to learn how to recover from spins as an instructor, and so you get to go and do a bunch of them and recover from them.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
that'll probably be one of the funner flights you do.
Yeah.
You go, they strip a plane out, like they take the back seats out, everything, because you have to be in a certain weight category to actually do spins. You go with like minimal fuel, and you climb like 600 feet per or 1,600 feet per minute.
Oh.
Just fucking rocket that shit. And then once you get up there, you'll go super high, probably 10,000 feet ish, and just fucking get this thing in spins. And
By
recover
yourself?
from them. No, you do it with the spin instructor.
That's
That
wild.
doesn't seem OSHA approved.
It's OSHA. Not only is it OSHA approved, it's FAA required to become an instructor. You have to do spin training.
What's the safety protocol?
so
Say
cool.
if you like couldn't recover from like a turn or something, is there like parachutes in the plane?
No,
Right. You're just fucked.
you recover or you die. It's fun. So we don't have parachutes. We don't have life jackets. We have a seatbelt that has an airbag built into it.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, so you either land the plane, whether it's an emergency or not, you either land the plane safely or die trying. So it's fun.
It's easy when there's no other option, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
some good motivation right there.
Yeah, that's some motivation.
Some
right
good
there.
motivation to go over your emergency checklists, make sure you can land it. Yeah, it's fun. So all the
was cool.
instructors that you'll see have been through spin training. They've been through everything, dude.
So if I want to prank my instructor, I'll just
Don't spin it, please.
just yank it hard.
Please, Jesus. Like
Full throttle, yank to the left.
you'll have students that'll spin the plane on accident, and you got to recover from it. And then you scoop the brown out of your shorts and go back because
You're fired.
well, when you're going out and doing regular training,
Yeah.
you are not in the spin category. Like you're not meant to
Ooh.
do spins. So when you do a
Those
spin,
planes.
right?
This is yeah.
So when you go and do a spin on accident, it's dangerous, but the instructor can recover from it. It's just they're probably just gonna not love it after.
Have you had a student spin?
I have not had a student spin me. We've spun a few times on the sim, but not on the plane. They're pretty hard to spin. Like,
You have to give it some.
you gotta crank that thing.
You gotta
And
be trying.
yeah, you gotta. Not only do you have to stall the aircraft, so you're going too slow for the wings to produce lift, you also have to crank it to one of the sides and just wing it, and it'll flip right end over end and spin you. That's fun. And a
that's
spin,
so scary.
yeah, a spin aerodynamically actually doesn't put a lot of stress on the airplane. It's the recovery from the spin.
Really?
So yeah, when you're spinning, like even if you're spinning straight towards the ground, your indicated airspeed is gonna be like 75 knots.
But it feels like just all hell is breaking
Well,
loose.
you start spinning, and then as you stop that spin and recover, you're still diving straight at the ground. So that will put a massive G load on the aircraft when you're recovering.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking about
Wow.
stuff like that, did I tell you guys I got in a wreck the other day?
No.
What?
Was it your fault?
No, I wasn't driving.
No.
It was wild.
So this is not your cars.
No, she was driving.
That's good.
Yeah, it was.
Is she your
intense.
girlfriend?
Yeah.
Just pulled a Sabrina, flipped a car, dog.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
we're
how
on
did
the
this come
fucking- we're
about?
on the
That
side.
looks like.
It was so icy and snowy, and then fishtailed and overcorrected, and then just.
For anyone who can't see, clearly that's everyone who's listening. It's on its side with the light shining forward, and him and his girlfriend are just posing and smiling in front of this totaled car.
She was not happy. I was just smiling. I was like, "That was exciting." She was like, "I'm not happy."
I would imagine her cars.
turned it off.
Did that total her car?
No,
Like,
we
really?
What?
the cops came, pulled it back, and she's like, "I'm driving home,"
Wow.
and we did.
And so was
They
that
can still
during that
total the
big?
car if they try to repair it.
Yeah.
If she just drove it back.
Well,
Yeah.
the cops
I was
were
gonna say.
arguing. They were like, "No, we're towing your car," and she's like, "No, you're not. It's my property. You're not taking it." And they were just like, "Yeah, we're towing your car." And she's like, "No, you're not." So,
What the fuck?
so she didn't. We got it flipped over. There was nothing wrong with it because I guess it's an older car and it's got like a really good cage on it.
Oh, okay.
Nothing was wrong with it. Literally
Just
no
the
damage.
whole side is crunched. No damage.
No damage at all.
Oh, the handles
even-
at least, my guy. Nothing.
Even the windshield or the side mirror just flipped in.
What the fuck?
It was wild.
Was this during the big storm just recently,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, it was
And
a
she
couple.
drove it home fine?
A little while. Yeah, I drove it home. She wouldn't drive. She was like, "I can't do this." So I drove home, but yeah, the car was fine. It felt like a movie, dude. It was in slow motion. It was just like, oh. And then I was like,
What did she hit to
hanging
go
by my-
sideways?
Just ice. We just the
Fishtail, dude.
and then the backside swung around and we hit the bank and it just flipped
Okay,
over.
you hit the bank.
But it was right in powder, nothing damaged, neither of us got hurt. Airbags didn't go off. It was the most bizarre crash. It was just like, what in the hell? And then we just climbed out the side window. I just rolled it down, climbed out the top. It was wild.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Who took the picture? Did the police?
Oh no, we called we called a coworker immediately before we even got out. We were like, "Hey Tyler, we just got in a wreck," and they're like, "Okay, we'll be there in 5 minutes." So they came. He's just like, "All right, pose." And I was all happy the whole time, nothing. I was just like, "Wee!" That was exciting. So he took a picture, and then the cops showed up, and we had to deal with that shit for an hour and a half.
Well, it's
Sat
good
in the
news
cop car.
that nothing super crazy came of it, though, besides just the flip itself.
Yeah, she paid $150 to get it flipped over because the tow person came and flipped it over, and then nothing. So $150 and nothing wrong.
How old
That's
is
it,
the
win.
car?
What the heck?
1996, I think.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
This
so that
thing
thing's
is
made of steel.
Yeah, that-
not aluminum.
That's what I'm saying. It's it built well. It's
Yeah.
a beast, but
That's
Well,
awesome.
they don't build them like that on purpose anymore.
no, they
You
don't.
get hurt more often.
the kinetic,
Yeah.
isn't it the kinetic energy travels you're just dead?
Yeah, they make them with crumple zones now so that your car brakes, so that the car takes the impact and not you.
Yeah.
Or they
That's
make
smart.
the car crumple around the engine, because I think a lot of people are just getting fucked up by the engine getting shoved back into you if you got a head-on crash. So they make it so the car brakes around the engine so that doesn't happen anymore.
That's
Or
cool.
your engine will drop.
Yeah.
What the
That's
heck?
way cool.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's why cars just get fucked up now.
Yeah.
You can't walk. You just total cars all the time is because they're
build
meant to
them like
brake
that.
so that you don't get hurt.
But wouldn't it be better to make it like they used to where it's like her car, you can roll it and it's fine.
Right. But then you take all the kinetic.
Oh, because you're
the car-
taking all the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting whipped around instead of your car.
Gotcha. That makes sense, actually.
Well, also with all the clips and stuff, like you were saying with the crumple zones, right? It's just, your car is meant to just literally explode. Everything's meant to shoot out of every effing angle, right? So that all of that energy goes to the side.
Yeah, and they've got high structural steel just around the passengers so that everything's made to go around you.
That's crazy.
That's badass.
It's way cool.
Yeah, hell, I'd rather my car be totaled than me.
yeah.
I'm more expensive than the car,
Yeah,
marginally.
That's why I buy insurance, baby.
I will say, though, those cops were absolute dicks.
Really?
After getting in a wreck, we got out, and they're like, we can give you a ticket for reckless driving. Just being total assholes the whole entire time. I was like, what the hell? We just got in a wreck. How about be nice? And
Yeah.
just be like, you guys okay?
Yeah, that's the oddest thing to me.
They just went to straight, you guys are fucking stupid. And we're just,
What?
okay.
That
We weren't even driving fast, nothing. It was just wild. It's complete douchebags, except one of them. One of them was really nice. It feels very strange, power. I don't know. When everybody's saying "fuck the police," I don't agree with that. But there's some dicks.
Oh yeah.
There's some douches out there.
Well, if you were to look at the proportion of positions that allow you to exercise your power in a way that might be self-gratifying, I guess you'd say that's more appealing to a marginal amount of sociopathy. You look at, you've got you're either prison guard or something like that,
Yeah.
and they don't. And actually, I was pretty surprised because one of my ex-girlfriend's dad, he was a cop, and he was talking about it, and they don't have any sort of unionism or anything like that. And they'll every 5 years, I think it actually might be every 4 years, you are required to rotate. And what rotating means is within the police department, there are certain things you can either be an electronic tech, you work on the radios and stuff, you can be a dispatcher, you can be all of these things, right? Well, these cops who are out in the field all the time, even if they want to stay out in the field, after their 4 years are up, they're required to leave that position. So you can't net the required experience that you would need to be able to be level in a position like that. So there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes which I think are pretty fishy, to say the least. You don't have any of that psychological background stuff going on either, especially
I think a
when
break every 4 years is necessary.
Yeah, you would think, right? But then you only, and I would think that's a good idea too. But then you only have people who you're rotating in people who more than likely they're starting their 4 years, right? So you're getting a lot of new people in constantly, whereas like even the people that, like if you wanted to stay in the position, like, hey, I've been with the department forever, I want to be in this position, and those no. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, you think about that, how much stress you'd be under every single day, like every fucking traffic stop, worrying if someone's going to load you full of bullets. Because I've watched, I think everybody's seen at least a few dash cam videos of people pulling over for a routine traffic stop, and then they just lean out the window with the AK or something and just light these people up. I mean, that'd be terrifying.
I mean, it depends on where you are, though. I mean, like Park City cops, what do they have to deal with? Old people?
Well, I wouldn't know, you know what I mean? I guess it would.
And young rich assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it would depend, but I don't know. I guess you just never really know. My point being is I was just thinking, I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous for anyone to act like that. And honestly, I think that shit should all be electoral. Like, if you're a dick, you're out. You know what I mean? But who knows? I always thought that was interesting, though. After he told me directly face to face, he was like, it's fucked up in the system. It's stupid. They do all this stuff, and it's like they don't give a shit about you. You're literally, if you make any noise, you're fired. It's like, I was like, oh, that's really surprising, especially for it to be so volatile in a workspace that's already, high stakes like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah, I get why most cops are dicks, because they have to be prepped for the worst, hope for the best, and they see the worst all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll bet you the majority of the people who they see slide off, just like, how are you driving? Oh, I was driving like an idiot. Oh, okay. Everyone who slides off drives like an idiot.
Yeah.
That's
Just kind of generalizing.
That's the conclusion they come to. Yeah.
Yeah, but also who knows what they came from prior to the call. For you guys or whatever, maybe they just, I don't know, how to arrest a crying mother or whatever the fuck,
Right. Someone dying or something.
So, yeah, I get why the cops are like that, but I don't really support the cops. I don't. Especially after COVID and all the BLM and all that shit. All the good cops, they left and or are leaving. And then the cops that are like, they don't care anymore. I mean, if I was a cop right now, I'd be like, I'm not answering a call for if it's a black family or something like that. I wouldn't do it. Because then I run the risk of who knows if I have to get physical or whatever, and then I'm going to prison for life. Fuck that. So all the good cops are going to sit on the line and or quit. So yeah, all the bad cops are stepping up and are pieces of shit. That's what I think.
Hard to know, but I would say there's a fuckload more risk on the front end now. You know what I mean? Like, just with all the energy even around it, like you have less people that support the police and more people with derision towards them, and then you have, I don't know.
It's just untrustworthy. I want to support the cops, and I do support a lot of good cops. I get that.
Yeah, they're still out there.
Yeah. It's just such a mixture. It's just like trusting the government. Do I trust the government? Fuck no, but do they do a lot? Do they do a lot of good things, though? And are they a necessity? Yes.
But they're us. Like, I totally agree with you. Like, in the things that it provides a necessary structure, but it was supposed to be something different that would have been extremely more beneficial. Yeah. I hear you. Like, the things that it still provides, we can't afford to lose. But the detriment in it is also so high that it's really close to I really feel like in the country we've had a lot of the energy of, like, it's really close to some things being outliving their use. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's more of a risk than there is a reward, even in like governmental things. Like, there's been a lot of frustration with the government and all sorts of things. I can see it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of unrest that way, but
it's the age of the internet. You see everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yep. We should just fund the cops and get like an astronomical amount of them.
Like what Goggins and Jacko Willing said, they just need training for high stress situations, and they don't get it.
And have requirements like if you're fat,
you
ain't
can't
fucking
be
getting
cop.
on the force.
I've never seen a fat cop. Maybe that's a Utah thing, but I mean, Utah doesn't really have a lot of obese people.
I absolutely have seen a fat cop. Remember when we were at the movie theater?
Oh my gosh! Just share this story. This is the
Just
funniest,
this chunky
funniest
cop
thing
on
I've
a
ever
bike.
seen.
But we were just sitting there after our movie, and I put my tickets in my pocket. And the cop comes up. What did you put in your pocket? I was like, dude, what the fuck? It was my tickets. I had rolled up our tickets and put them in my pocket.
And he was like getting on your ass about that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
he
none of
was
your
this
business what I
bike
just
cop.
put in my
Yeah.
And,
pocket. What the fuck?
and after we were all joking, we're like, you know what we should have done? We should have just scattered.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and what you're a chubby bike cop. Are you gonna come get all of us?
Well, I mean, what are the odds we were with Landon Darger?
Yeah.
The biggest pothead you've ever
yeah.
seen. He comes
And
up to me.
Yeah, I was laughing.
Really, dude?
My ass
That's
off.
awesome.
It's so funny.
What's the odds he even would have caught any of you?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. But
Not
yeah.
even one.
Well, I literally put it in my pocket and didn't bring it out. I just said tickets, and then he drove away after. I was like, I could have put anything in there, dude.
Like a motorcycle cop? I don't
No,
know.
no.
A bicycle.
Like a 2-speed, brother. Like you're pedaling.
Oh.
Probably put him on that so he could get some exercise.
It's funny, but yeah, I was super laughing my butt off.
Yeah.
And again, he probably sees kids all the time pocketing shit.
Oh
where
yeah.
He's just like, bruh, what was that? You know?
Oh yeah.
No,
I would
don't
imagine
blame
he
him.
gets
It was
a lot
just
of that.
funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Oh, I'd imagine he gets a lot of that, but also we were fucking hooligans, and I still have a good majority of hooliganism in my blood.
Yeah.
But it's also, I was actually having this pretty interesting conversation the other day, like about relation to authority on control of consciousness, like, you know, how the government chooses to control consciousness and things like that, and how we kind of police ourselves on that even. Like rationally, I believe there's a very firm argument to be made rationally that you should be able to do whatever you damn well choose with your consciousness as long as it doesn't affect another person negatively. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean peripherally, I mean directly. Like in accordance with the law of you are not allowed to steal these rights from somebody. Like outside of that, I absolutely believe that there's a very sturdy argument to be made that you should be able to do whatever you want with your consciousness. If you want to do drugs, if you know what I mean. And I would even extend this is where it gets a little choppy. I'd extend it to like suicide and stuff. That's your choice. You know what I mean? Like I think there should be like large institutions around this. Like if drug legalization were a large scale thing, I think it'd be very beneficial to be able to bring in something like, you know, more assistance for anyone who's choosing into like addiction with it. But I think legalization would take a lot of the criminality away to the point where if it was legalized and we were able to get taxes off, I don't know. I've seen some things with like some governments that have done it that's been pretty beneficial. But
You
yeah,
said without taxes?
no, with taxes, like with the taxes from it. I've heard.
And see, that's why I disagree. So look up the percent of in California of the legal weed buyers compared to the black market still. It's like 80-something percent, and it's legal in California. And that's because it's cheaper to go to a fucking dealer. The taxes, all these regulations. So I 100% disagree. I think it'd be cool if they could do it without taxes and all that, but having the
logistically
like heroin regulation and all this stuff.
Safer.
Right, it would be
Get it
safer.
laced.
Well,
It's a
well,
good
that's
conversation.
Who the fuck would do it?
but
Because if I have to spend $50 to go do it in a government facility, or go spend $10 for, I don't know, how does heroin work? A gram of heroin or something?
I don't know. But what I do,
I'd do
yeah.
the $10.
Yeah, clearly, but one of the things that they were doing, like to institute, like it's more than just the fiscal part of it. Like I think that would be pretty cool. But like what they were doing was giving out free needles and stuff like that. And it might seem like a propagation of it, but if someone's going to go do the thing, they're going to go do it regardless. But they saw like a very drastic drop in their STD rates and things like that.
Right, yeah. On the surface, it sounds like a bad idea, but if you're trying to stop disease, like STDs, I think that's valid.
I mean, there's give
depends
and
on the
takes
issue.
with.
But who pays for it? We all pay for it.
Yeah.
We're all these
Right, but then
fucking
you have an
dweebs.
epidemic and everybody's dying from fucking AIDS or some shit when you'd rather, I don't know.
I mean, I think there's.
I don't want
gives-
to pay for their shit. We're
You
already
gotta pay
paying
for their AIDS anyways.
We're paying for the start of World War III. It's like,
Well, I think there's
Fuck
give.
that
Yeah,
shit.
I think there's give and takes. I mean, we're going off on some branching things, but majority I'm talking about like your personal control of your consciousness. Should I be able to? Because like when it comes to government, we start getting things get a little more foggy. But if I told Noah, or if I told Xavier, I told you can't do that, you would just tell me to go fuck myself. And that would be valid, right? If it's something that, like, unless it's like you can't harm someone else, then everyone's on board, obviously. But if it's like, hey, you can't eat that. You can't eat broccoli because I think broccoli's terrible. What you'd be like, okay, I mean, that's very interesting that you think that, but how about suck my nuts? It wouldn't be even entertained, right? But I mean, obviously, it's because you have argument from authority. Like if I have all of the guns and I tell you that you can't eat broccoli, probably a good idea not to eat broccoli. but you know what I mean? I think there's a pretty interesting case to be made for like sovereignty of your own consciousness.
Yeah, that's fair. Think about it from a governmental standpoint. Say you're a politician in there, and you're like, okay, a lot of the people, or we'll say there's a good majority of people who want to have freedom of their own consciousness. They want to do these drugs, whatever. Okay. In that case, let's try to make it safe, and let's try to create revenue for the government from that. That's where you get these institutions, legalize everything, and everything's taxed. It makes sense from a political standpoint. Yeah, it sucks, but just like Jess said and everyone else said, it's like you'll reduce diseases, blood transmitted diseases with the needles and everything. You'll reduce deaths from overdoses because it's kind of regulated, and you'll increase tax revenue, which win.
I mean, when the opposing option is we're fighting that, you know what I mean? Like we're actively throwing F loads of money into the war on drugs rather than the war on criminality. That which like if you decriminalize that, then the criminal activity would be the things that are generally more nefarious. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like there would be a lot more availability to focus in on more drastic things. Do you know what I mean? And like movement around that instead of it being directly the drugs that we're trying to get off. You know what I mean?
And the problem with that is that the prisons are run as for-profit companies.
Yeah.
Whereas the government is not.
Yeah.
Flip that shit around. The government runs the prisons. It's not for profit. It's just a fucking money dump. You'll have a lot less criminality. Because people are going to advocate, say, oh, we don't want our tax dollars to go to this.
Yeah.
Let's figure out a way to either legalize the drugs or whatever. But because it's for profit, you've got lobbyists and stuff saying, yeah, make more things illegal. We get more profit because more people are in prison.
Yeah.
And
Sweet.
I know. We read a book one time. It was like about how small things add up, but like Rudy Giuliani did it in New York, and they like reduced crime by like half by just like cleaning the subways, getting rid of graffiti, just giving people a nicer place to live, and their crime went way down.
Yeah.
So it's indirect benefits to a lot of things that like surface wise you'd be like, why the fuck are you cleaning the graffiti?
Yeah.
But if you did the graffiti and you were looking for a reduction in crime, and then you've seen it, then all this it makes sense.
Yeah, you have a correlation that doesn't seem
What does baby
directly
have to say?
obvious.
Yeah.
Baby, talking to here. Hello. Hi. Trying to get baby to talk into the mic. Nope. She's still waking up.
Cute, but
that's one of the things though. I totally hear you on that. Like there's about 50,000 different angles to it where it's like oh, obviously this is the issue. Everyone's gonna have that, you know. This is the issue. We change this and everything gets fixed. But it's, you know, it's just a symptom of whatever governmental illness we're under, which I can totally see. But I was considering it the other day, like who you are is largely who I am, and from what I can see, who people are is largely based off what our consciousness is focused on, right? And like if you know, who owns like these big social media companies, and who's directing all of that? I mean, China is smart as hell, and so is our government. They buy up these things. You look at our younger brothers, all of our younger family, even us, constantly. Your phone, if there's a TV in the corner of the room, there's a phone in your hand, whatever it is, and it's just like gulp, 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 gulp. And all you'd really have to do is be like, hey, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. I mean, it's another way of like the consciousness, like the sovereignty of your own consciousness, you know what I mean? And it's like, here, you choose into this. But also it's like, who's going to say no to a galaxy in your pocket with infinite knowledge and all of the entertainment you've ever wanted? I mean, if you looked at it in the sense of maybe maybe there is such thing as something that's too good to be true, but you know what I mean. I was just thinking there's a very interesting correlation between like being told what you can and can't think and what makes your consciousness, what makes you from the standpoint of other people's visualization of you and your own idea of yourself. Like whatever I'm focused on, that's majority of what I am. Because I'm only the moment. Like, and there's an argument for me being what I am consistently, what I'm usually, right? Like if I'm usually aloof and I'm just kind of a chill guy, oh, well then people will probably think of me as usually aloof and kind of a chill guy. Maybe sometimes I fly off the handle. Well, is he still a chill guy? Or maybe someone flies off the handle more and sometimes they're a chill guy. Do you know what I mean? But there's something to be said for wherever your attention is or whatever you're focusing on being or whatever you're choosing to consume or focus on. That is the identity that you mostly hold. So I was just thinking it's very interesting that's like you can't have this experience conscious-wise. You can't have a psychedelic experience. That's illegal. You can grow a mushroom. You can do everything but harvest a mushroom. You can buy a grow kit legally, grow it up to an adult, but the second that you cut that stalk and you eat it, then that's illegal. But the point being, you can't have that. You can't legally have that that form of consciousness. Just like there's other things where it's, it's just very interesting to me. I was thinking about that, like the sovereignty of consciousness. If it's not your decision, or if all of those avenues are being blocked off from you, it's very interesting. And I wonder if we even have that, if we could even claim to have a sovereignty of consciousness, because freedom's a big thing in America. And I mean, we still have the choice to some degree to do what we would like. But I mean, everyone kind of peripherally knows, you can say whatever you want. Unless you say something to piss off the Clintons, then you might get a heart attack at 20.
You see that thing where that guy recently died?
Tied to a tree.
Cop, he was tied to a tree and shot twice, and they ruled it suicide.
Oh, what?
What?
Where was this at?
I don't know.
Arkansas. Was it Arkansas?
I don't know. I just know he was like 20 miles from his house, tied up to a tree and shot twice, and it was suicide.
Wow, that's...
His neck was tied around a tree, shot in the chest, no gun, but he committed suicide.
Oh my Lord, this guy's a fucking suicide artist. Talk about not letting him know your next move. I mean,
Yeah, but he had ties to Epstein and the Clintons years and years and years ago.
Oh.
So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Here's the deal: anytime someone dies and Clinton's name is brought up, it's instantly they did it.
Yeah.
So I would just be wary of that.
Well,
but
it can
also
be
it's pretty fucking suspect.
Yeah, it could be anyone. But point being, it's like some people, like Epstein himself. Who the fuck ever believed that he killed himself? It's like all of the cameras turned off. We both fell simultaneously, and he hung himself from a 2-foot bed.
Broke his neck in such a way that it would require more force than he can muster himself.
Yeah. Shh, don't look over here. We didn't clean up our mess, but just ignore it. But regardless, all this is just to be saying, I think it's very interesting, and I would wonder if you guys feel that people have sovereignty of consciousness still, or if that's even a concept to be considered. Because I suppose it all comes from personal derivation of what we would consider freedom. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you still have sovereignty of consciousness. You always have the power of choice, but it's could be a heavily influenced choice, right?
Yeah.
It is technically you still making the choice.
Yeah.
But think of it as, say, someone raised in a religious background and therefore follows that religion into their adulthood. Is it their sovereignty of choice? Like, are they choosing into it? Were they brainwashed
programmed
into it?
Yeah.
Right. It's all just like, in the end, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just your choice.
Oh yeah.
With whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, it is our choice. Yeah. That I suppose that's true in the sense it's like I still could do all of those things that I want to do if they're illegal, but if I get caught, I face the consequences. So it's like I guess it's more like I suppose I do agree with you. We still have that sovereignty, but it's like there's fences on both sides, There's fences on 3 sides. It's a lot easier to go straight and follow the line than it is to turn in any single way without resistance, you know what I mean?
Well, even that you can't do anything without outside influence of some kind or another too. So
Well,
it's not,
yeah, but to what degree, right? Like,
well, everything influences you, like
Oh.
in big or small ways. Every
Yeah.
turn you take, every person you see, it's. I don't know.
yeah, I
just
guess
is-
it's more like with the intent of purposefully, like you have the intent to
railroad someone.
yes, you have the intent to corral someone into some direction. Do you not think? Do you not feel that that's something that the government does?
Yes, yeah, they definitely will scrub history books and
Mhm.
stuff, make it, history's written by the victors.
Mhm.
Sweet. So the U.S. has been the greatest country since World War II, whatever.
Mhm.
And then you go to another country, and they've been the greatest country
Mhm.
since World War, whatever. But you think about it, and it's just like, in the end, you get to do your own research and come to your own choices.
Mhm.
Mostly, the political divides nowadays are caused algorithmically.
Mhm.
It's not because someone is like, oh, I'm going to make everybody on Facebook liberal.
Yeah.
Now, that could be where the algorithm goes for some people.
Yeah.
But if I were to go on the Facebook algorithm, it would probably be more conservative. And
Yeah.
more of that stuff would pop up.
Yeah, it's more individual.
Yeah.
Whatever I choose to follow, it gives me more of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the reason for the massive divide and how much it's been growing in this country, because some of the shit you see, and I've listened, I've watched both sides, and you know what they both say? The other side's lying. The other side
Yeah.
has all this billion-dollar funding from these corrupted politicians, and yada yada yada. They both say that shit,
Yeah.
and they both have evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, in the end, doesn't fucking matter. Just
No.
make your own decisions, live a good life as
Yeah.
best you can.
Well, that's one of the things too. Is it's like, is it easier just to fucking narrow down? Because that's what I know. That's what I've done. I feel like that's what a lot of people have done, at least recently. It's like there's too fucking much going on.
Yeah.
And I can't give a fuck about every single thing. I can't
Yeah.
give a fuck about all of that.
Yeah.
I literally have a life here, and to look up and try and tackle every single fucking world problem at one time. How about I fucking do maybe I just want to live my life and enjoy my time with the people that I love. But I wonder if is that in some way neglecting, not that, it's easier to look away from those things and to not deal with it, in the sense that, I don't want to dedicate my life to trying to fix something.
Mm-hmm.
No. I want to build something beautiful. I want people that I love in my life. I want a beautiful family. I want safety, the things that people usually want, the pursuit of, something beautiful in life. But if we're not even looking up to be like, hey, maybe this or that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose everyone has that balance, but and I suppose it also probably comes from my potheadism that I look at it and I'm like, we're on consciousness. Fuck these people. I want to do my drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me that there are things that you can and can't do. And if I were to tell you, you know what I mean? If on the personal level doesn't make sense, on a large scale, it's easier to go along with,
Yeah.
You suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. It is interesting, but each person has the freedom of personal choice. It's
Yeah.
great. And speaking of personal choice, hard segue. You got a new car since the last time you were on.
Yeah,
That was a big step for you.
Yeah, it was. And as all things, it's easier. The action was actually easier than the thought of the action, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a minute to find what I was looking for, Car prices were a little bit wonky, still a little bit wonky, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
with all the parts and things like that, everything
yeah.
going up. But I got a price range I was looking for and I was happy with, something that I could be comfortable with. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful car. I got a blue Elantra, 2019, 2019, yeah. Anyways.
And it's
Nice.
turboed.
Oh yeah, she got a little turbo in there, dog. Oh no, wait, it's a 17.
She's a little quicker
regardless.
than the last one.
Yeah. She drives reliably, and I like that about her. But
It's 2-wheel drive though, right?
yeah, and she's been kicking ass in the
Nice.
snow. Oh yeah, people are like, or like my coworkers are like, how are the roads? Were you scared? I'm a effing fiend. I love when it gets a terrible weather like that. and there's like no one on the roads in the morning, I just was whipping those corners, getting that little slip behind the back like you like. Give it some little control, but I don't know. I enjoy it a little bit. I'm a little bit of a risk taker that way, but the roads really aren't that bad if you just drive reasonably. It's like, hey, don't slam your brakes, especially not on a downhill.
Yeah.
And when you're slowing down, let off the gas and tap it a few times. There's just easy things. You don't take a hard turn. There's slush on the road, but I've seen some crazy things, and I know a lot of people who just it's bred into them to not be able to function as a human when snow hits pavement. Their brain deletes. It's pretty powerful. Sending all the love out. But there's been times where I'm like, I'm driving. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, let me teleport me into this person's passenger seat. Like, look, everybody smoke a doob if this is how it's going to be, because this is unbelievable. Just like I've seen people just white knuckled, screaming down the freeway. It's not even that bad. I'm passing up diesels and trucks. I'm like, the road's not even that terrible. I don't see what's going on here. But
Redwood is the worst road to drive on in the morning. Miserable when it snows.
Well, and it's not one of the first ones they plow, is it?
No, it's not plowed. But you get people, it's snowing, but there's no snow on the road, 20 miles an hour. And you're like, oh my hell, you're going to cause accidents, dude. It's miserable.
Yeah. Those are the people who cause everyone to slam their brakes and then crash.
Oh. Or they're just going slower than shit up a hill, and you're like, you're not going to make it in that car unless you press the gas.
You should have pressed the gas before you got to the hill, but you didn't.
Oh, man. Me and my girlfriend were driving in her house. So, actually, another thing. I moved in with Logan, actually. Me and my girlfriend moved in with Logan and his girlfriend. My sister, surprise. Anyways, it's been super sick. Beautiful home, you know what I mean? Awesome price, everything, but obviously it was further away from where my girlfriend was living, which was like 3 hours away. But we take this drive, we cleaned up our house and everything, and someone had taken the U-Haul hours before, and we cleaned our house, and we set out in the middle of a winter storm warning. And I was like, okay, I've got this, ain't no big deal. I'll just keep it chill. But like 7 cars on just in the first like 15 minutes, 7 cars in ditches and everything, it's all going to hell. I'm on the phone with my girlfriend. She's like, I hate this. And I'm like, it's chill. We're just vibing. But all these people, man, we're going up. We come down this hill. Oh, it's steep decline. And this car, it's this. My heart was all sorts of twisted in knots about this. I was trying to be a good person, pull the Jesus and turn the cheek. But this guy just slow as hell, and then would let off, and then just slam his brake every like 5 minutes, and he slides every time. I'm like, this is unbelievable to me. I was totally in la la land, because girlfriend's stressed. This guy's just slamming his brake, fishtailing down the road, and I'm like, it's okay. When I'm just all fucking actually in my car throwing shit. What the hell are these people doing? It's fun though. I don't know. I look back on all those type of things. They're my most enjoyable moments. For some reason, I love the high energy. I love driving in the snow. It's a little bit different. You know what I mean? There's more adrenaline. It's more stuff going on. And if you can keep a level head, it ain't no big deal. You ain't tripping about it. But some people really be tripping. They get into the trip. They are the trip. They never had a trip guide in their life. That kind of trip where I'm like, look, you are higher than I am right now. That's damn near impossible. But no, yeah, it was so incredible. But I actually do love driving in that weather. But if I have tag-alongs, can't. Fuck it. Stay home. Cancel everything. If I'm driving alone, easy money. But yeah, it's fun.
Just got to stay in the middle of the road for when you do spin. Then you just spin right around and then back on the road. It's the people on the edges who fall off into the ditch.
That was
oh yeah,
the first big snowstorm. We were driving from our house to out here, and you guys have been to my house. The mountain view that you go to right before you get on the road?
Yeah.
We were just weaving around cars that were just stuck on that hill. And it was probably 10 or 15 cars just stuck. Couldn't go up the hill.
Man.
Got to go backwards.
Well, my car made it fine. It's 2-wheel drive. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
Honestly, if you know how to drive in the snow, you can get around with pretty much anything. Like, it's
Yeah.
better to have
bald
full
tires,
row.
baby.
Oh yeah. Well,
I've had my Lancer for the last 3 years, and I'm fine in it, you know. And it's 2-wheel.
oh yeah.
Sometimes we get cars into work with tires that look so bald, and they just drive out of here with them where you're like, that thing is smooth. What are you doing?
Did you sand that down?
Yeah, your tire is polished right now, dog. I can see my reflection.
Dude, no tread. It's crazy. And they just drive that shit.
But it's interesting though, because I've seen some cars where you're like, oh, that's gonna handle great in the snow, and fucking when that shit tires hit snow, spinning out. Mine, I've looked at it, I'm like, tiny wheels, you know, this little sedan. I'm like, she ain't gonna do shit. Get out there, tears the chungus up. But when I'm out there with this one car, I'm out there with a truck. It's all spinning out. I'm like, what in the ass is going on? And some cars like will switch into 2-wheel drive or have a traction control.
Traction control is
fucking
the
sucks.
worst.
Yeah, it really is.
You're just trying to get out from being stuck, and he just doesn't let you. It's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Funny though.
Need more gas.
Oh yeah. Regardless, we moved in and that was super sick. It's been very beautiful. It's new townhome and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, it's sweet.
That's been a big thing for me. Actually, this is the first time I've not lived in a basement since I was in elementary school. So, you know, there's a lot of light. I see light these days. It's beautiful. Plants can grow in my space, so I think that's a good sign. Things can live besides me there, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You're not a cave dweller anymore?
No, it's been a big shift for me,
I'm
but
so excited for that.
I've never not been in a basement,
Mhm.
except for maybe when I was 5 or younger. My room's always been in the basement, or we've lived in a basement my entire
that's
life.
true, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how I was till now as well.
it's a whole new world out there, though.
I hate it. I don't like living in basements. It lowers your mood.
You don't
When
get
you
any
could-
sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just gotta go outside.
Gotta get that
good vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trick.
Speaking of sun, if you guys should all get a sunrise alarm clock. Shit's so fucking nice.
What?
It's an alarm clock that instead of noise, it gets brighter like the sun's coming up. It's so much nicer to wake up.
I don't feel like that would wake me up, though.
It will make noises at the
Oh.
end, but it gives you you can set it up to an hour to wake you up with light before the noise gets
Oh,
go
that's
off.
nice.
Oh, that's
pretty cool.
interesting. And when did you get that?
Yeah, like a month ago, and you just wake up so much happier. Life's not as bad. You just wake up feeling good.
I usually get to wake up before my alarm to a crying baby.
Yeah. Well, it's just
Yeah.
the light kind of wakes you up, so you're and then you fall back asleep. But it's like waking up to the sun because it's bright in your room, and then you're nice and happy in the morning. It's so much better.
It sounds sweet, actually.
It does sound sweet.
I'm a fan for sure.
Yeah, when I get pulled out of a dream through the wrathful hand of God and my alarm clock, wake up! I'm all, oh Jesus, where am I?
Yeah, alarm noises don't piss me off anymore. You hear it and it's not so bad.
Oh,
It's-
I don't think I'll ever have that. Get fucking
dude.
war PTSD from that shit. I'm all grabbing onto shit. Ah!
the light gets brighter. The birds start tweeting because that's my alarm.
Oh,
The
that's
birds
nice.
going off. It's so
Dude.
nice.
Your life sounds peaceful, my brother.
It's so much nicer.
That sounds way nice.
I was going to say, that's not going to work for you, is it?
No. Nope.
Well, if you can do it.
Yeah.
That sounds super cool, though.
No, usually my alarm goes off in the mornings, depending on how early I'm getting up, and then baby starts screaming because she'll wake up with it too. She's usually not super bad. It's usually like a couple little, and then if you don't wake up, you're like, I'm hungry. Yeah.
That's gotta be a pretty good alarm. Does she wake up with a regular enough timing that you wake up on those times that she doesn't wake up at that time yet, or is her sleeping
sometimes.
schedule not firm enough yet?
Yeah, it depends. It's anywhere between 4 and 7. So sometimes 2 in the morning, whatever. Like last night, I heard her multiple times throughout the night. She just wake up, scream randomly, and then go back to sleep. Because they'll dream and they have their sleep cycles too. So in between sleep cycles, they'll wake up, scream for a second, go back to bed. So I woke up last night probably 3 or 4 times with screams, and then in the morning you wake up to your alarm. So yeah.
How long? So is your body acclimated to that, like, I guess, deficit of sleep now?
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
I mean, it takes you a few months for sure, just to get used to each other. Like, We probably took a full 3-4 months to get used to the sleep schedule, and it changes. And they go through something called sleep regressions, where they just don't want to go to bed.
Oh.
They just won't fucking sleep. You got to rock them to sleep, and then the second you put them down, scream. So you got to pick them back up, rock them again. And you'll have this happen quite a few times. I think it happens like 4 times in the first year or something. And it's a span of a few weeks at a time generally, where they're just their brain is super hyperactive because they're learning so much that they can't sleep. And they're pissed off that they can't sleep because they're tired. And they don't know they're tired. They're just like, why the fuck am I upset? You know? And then on top of that, you have teething. When they're teething, their mouth's hurting, so they just get pissed off about that. Yeah, or if they're sick at all, like baby's been a little bit sick this week, not feeling so good. Or, you know, she got stepped on by the dog the other day, and it cut her lip. And so she was in pain last night about that. So it was just like all sorts of fun stuff. Guys, having a kid is not easy, but oh my gosh, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They
Just-
wake up, you see that smiling face looking at you. They recognize you. It's fun.
That sounds so cute.
Um,
Sidebar though, how many times did you personally cry from the lack of sleep?
Not a ton, honestly.
I would feel like when I have a little bit of sleep, I am such a baby back bitch. It's like having a man cold, dude. Like, but I'm tired.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that, but no, most time your brain just goes into survival mode and you start getting pissed off about it.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what the fuck am I not sleeping? You know. So that's something for new parents out there. Be very careful with, because your brain will go into survival mode.
Yeah.
That's how people get shaken babies and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because your brain will say, "Oh, we're not getting enough sleep. Like something is causing us to not get enough sleep, and I need it." And then it will silence whatever is.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it's fucked. So
Really?
be
You
very. You gotta be
terrifying.
No, I promise you, it's a real thing. During the first few months, guys, when you have kids, have someone you can call in the middle of the night and say, "You're taking my baby. I need just like I can't do this tonight."
Yeah, I've heard it's like that's really important
Yeah,
for
or take
especially
shifts.
mothers because
yeah.
you know you'll have like obviously majority of the burden's going to be on the mother because the mother.
Yeah.
But that's what I've heard is a pretty big thing, and I can only imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And they're recovering from having a baby in the first few months, you know, and even beyond. So just be very careful. Recognize those feelings, and if you have to, the baby's not going to get hurt if it's crying and sitting and laying down. You know, like just walk out if you have to.
Yeah. You have support structures in place, or at least that's what you're saying is obviously
Have
have
those
your support structures in place.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or take shifts or something like, okay, you got them for a few hours, and then I'm going to go rest, and then I'll take them for a few hours. Yeah. Because it's legit shit.
It sounds like so much. I mean, obviously, it's a responsibility that I'd like to have in my life at some point.
very
But
fun.
that sounds like some fucking Navy SEAL type shit. This is your week of no sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're probably sitting at an average of 4 to 6 hours a night for the first little while, just depending. But
I think I'd be
or
pretty
less.
good at that. I'm pretty used to not getting a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
And I handle it pretty well.
It's not the little bit of sleep part that hurts you. It's the human brain is wired to help a baby if it's crying, right? Like that's supposed to get on your nerves, so that you can
Do something
change
about
them,
that,
feed them, whatever, fix it. And so if you have that lack of sleep along with your nerves just being stretched like a bowstring, from that crying, that's when it gets bad. That's when you're just like, I'm losing my mind. So,
I mean,
beware of that.
Sounds like
well,
a
you look
form of
at
torture.
I was gonna say you look at
Absolutely.
how they do the torture process. It's literally like, look, we're gonna deprive them of sleep and give them loud noises.
Yeah.
Hand them a child, quick, we'll torture.
I wonder if that would work in like police stations, like keep them up and then have a baby crying noise like constantly. They'd go insane.
It's not just like a regular cry noise, whatever. It's like when they get frantic and just start screaming at you too. Then it's just like, oh fuck, what do I do? And you've done everything. You've fed them, you've changed them, you've rocked them. Nothing's working. You're just like, oh no, what do I do? Yeah. It's the fact that you can't do anything, and it keeps happening, and you don't have enough sleep. It compounds quick.
I would only imagine. Yeah. I can have one or two of those three things and maybe survive. But all three continuously, I'd have to learn how to be a big kid real quick.
It's fun, and then add on top of that whatever stress you have in life. Like for me, going through flight school or whatever.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's fun.
I wonder if there's a way or like some methods you could do. I'm sure they're out there, but for like stress training, to like train your brain to handle an extreme amount of stress.
Yeah, having a baby. That'll do it.
you know, to like prepare for that though. Like a room or something that you can go sit in, or like, I don't know, facility.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I wouldn't want to do that on
preparatory training.
purpose.
No.
Fuck that.
I would. It sounds fun.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, go have a baby.
Not yet.
That's very fun and very rewarding
Yeah, that does sound awesome.
I know this is kind of an interesting.
because you earn it.
Oh, fudge. It sounds. I really do think that's like one of the most important things to me in my life. And surprisingly, that's more and more in my life. It's just been coming on the horizon where I'm like, that's an experience that I deserve to have in my life. You know what I mean? Like,
It's worth it.
yeah.
Best
But-
thing you'll ever do. I know people who are like in their 50s and they're
Yeah.
like, I don't want kids ever. Bro, you're just depriving yourself
Yeah.
for your whole life. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I've got dogs. It's not even close. Sorry.
Well, let's talk about like the timing that you have kids, because like a lot of people, I don't know. I see this for example in my own life, like especially with our cousins. Like I went to Grandpa Gary's funeral and I had a cousin ask me like, "How many kids do you have?" And I was like, I don't even I can't even take care of myself fully. So no, I don't.
I have
any
one,
kids.
and it's
Like,
me. I have my own child.
I would love to have kids, but I don't even see myself getting like there for a while until I'm like maybe 27 or 26. You know, like I don't know. I just hate the pressure of like, oh, you need to get married and have a kid now. I'm like, why? I don't.
Yeah.
That's not in my path at the moment. Like I would love to have a kid and a family, but
Well, and
I need to figure my own shit out first. You know what I mean?
but that was never a thing. Like in the past, like now we have that luxury, right? You can be like, I'm not ready yet. No. It used to be. It's like, oh, you have sex? Well, you have a kid. And also on top of that, it was more like that was just some shit that you did. You know what I mean? It was like, so it's a lot different now where it's like, you know, am I ready? Like I've watched a couple of videos like and things like that and heard this from quite a few people who've had kids young. They say, oh yeah, accidentally having a kid was the best thing that I ever did, because you have them when you're young, you grow with them, then you're not decrepit and old by the time they hit adulthood or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? I've heard that too, but
You want some advice from a dad?
yeah.
So, best time to have kids is going to be after your teenage hormones kind of calm down. So, say between 21 and 28, sometime in there. You will want to have them when you're young, so you can still enjoy and actually go and do things with them when they're a little bit older. Say when they're, between 10 and 20, that's like prime age to go take them and do things and have them get experiences with you. And at that time, you're like mid-30s. That's when life starts kind of coming together a little better. And then you'll still have energy when they're adults, and you can play with your grandkids. You can go on vacations with your kids and stuff. So that's like prime age, and your hormones will calm down where even if you are super stressed or super angry or whatever, you can still control them way better than if you were having them at 16 to 18,
Yeah.
right? Secondly, by the time you're 21 to 28, you're a little more financially stable than a young teenager.
Yeah.
Because young teenagers will have them, and they're just broke for like 10 years, right? Me, I'm only broke right now because of
School,
my schooling and choice. And I wouldn't say I'm broke. I'm just surviving check to check, right? But it's in a lot more controlled manner than if I were to have one as a teenager.
Yeah.
So you guys are all in the prime age.
So you think there is a sweet spot?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely have them when you're young. Because by the time you're in your 30s, you're going to start getting a little more tired. Your bones are going to start aching a little more. Things like that. Right now, you have the energy, you have the will, you got the vitality to just be like, all right, we can keep up with this. You can survive on 5 hours of sleep a night or whatever, especially for the first little bit. And your wife's body can bounce back from it a lot easier when they're younger.
If you
So-
wanted to have more kids or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it is.
exactly. Like try to have however many kids you want, try to have them in that sweet spot, 21 to 28-ish, and you're never going to feel ready.
That's what I was
that.
I was actually
Nope,
bring that up.
never. Doesn't matter
I
what
get-
fucking age. Like, when you have a kid, nothing will prepare you for that. There's no user manual. There's no, like, set way to do it.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah.
It's really just like, okay, what can I do for this kid to ensure their survival and that they can thrive optimally?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say too. Is everyone that I know now is like, well, I'm not ready for kids.
Yeah, fuck
or,
that.
Or
You won't
like,
ever be.
Or like I question, like, am I ready to do I? Because I don't know how to do this. Well, no shit, you don't know how to do it because you haven't done it yet.
Think about it.
Yeah, like
Think about it right here. You've got most people who say they aren't ready. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be like a financial thing, or maybe they don't like their girlfriend, or they don't have a girlfriend,
or
whatever.
responsibility wise.
Or responsibility. If the longer you wait, then say you have a higher paying job, you're like, okay, now I'm financially ready. Oh, now I'm not emotionally ready because now I've got all these stressors of this high paying job.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be all sorts of factors. You'll never be 100% ready.
What about the girl thing?
Just is
'Cause,
what it is.
Like, a fear would be like not that you're personally ready, because like you can't be ready for experience like you said that you've never had.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen. But like with who? You know, there's always that fear of like
That's
doing
important.
it with the wrong person. Like, that's what scares
important.
me.
And at the same time, it's like, yeah, the only constant in life, the only thing that's going to be forever is going to be death and taxes and your kids. Whoever you marry, whoever you have a kid with, whatever, they may come and go. It is a possibility. Not that that's ideal, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Your kids are forever, right? So whoever you choose to have kids with, make sure, hopefully, that they will at least stay with you till they're 18, right? And you can raise them properly. And that they have a fairly level head, because that shit will test both of you to the max. And then go for it, because it's the most rewarding thing you'll ever do.
That's why I think like a lot of people get it wrong with like the relationship thing of going like girls think guys like a girl that they need to go save, but it's like the most attractive women are those who can like stand alone and are strong enough to handle life
Yeah.
without you.
Well, that kind of, and like the maternal instincts is what, like, well, logistically, that's what men are attracted to.
Oh yeah.
The softer side of the feminine. I mean, we're wired to be like fucking, here I am, protector guy, provider guy. You know what I mean? That's kind of how we're all wired. But I was going to say that I thought that was actually a pretty fucking good crash course on like adulthood and
Yeah.
why children and what about children and how on children. Because like, and obviously for like most of the people that I know, you know, we're in our 20s, young, whatever, or 20s to mid 20s to late 20s. But there's a lot of the time that's what I hear. If it's not, I don't want kids, I'm not ready for kids. I'm not going to be, well, I want to have a career and all that. But I've seen a lot of things on, like, if you get a career and then, okay, sweet, you've lived your career out and you're like in your 50s. It's like you might have all the available cash, but what the fuck are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? Like, what is the fruition of your life? Like, that I've heard a lot of things like that.
There's also the other side of the coin, though, where people feel like they haven't been able to live their life, and then they accidentally have their kid, and they're going to take it out on their kid because, oh, it's your fault that I didn't get to do all these things because
Accidentally
didn't
having a
want it.
kid doesn't happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean by that, though. Like, they weren't
Their
purposely
intention
trying.
wasn't there, but
Yeah,
their
they didn't want
penis
to be a
was.
parent. their penis was there, but
Too
their mind
fucking
wasn't
bad.
there.
That's what growing up means.
Uh-huh.
Deal with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You'll make it work. There's so many more people in much more destitute places than we are at who are having kids and able to make it work.
Yeah. Like, even if you're living, like, honestly, like, even if I was living a shitty life and it was food stamps and paycheck to paycheck, my kids would still be, like, even if I had 2 kids and was still living, just barely scraping by. You know what I mean? My kids would still be living better than the majority of the people in the world.
You can make it work and
Yeah.
you can make yourself thrive. You just got to do it right.
Yeah.
Do it smart. You know, we had our kid with babysitting costs and everything and like clothes and food and all that. we're probably about between $600 and $800 a month, but we make it work. It's like I got rid of my truck.
Yeah.
That wasn't because of the kid. It was because I was like, okay, we're gonna reduce our expenses as much as possible. And then I saw myself. I'm like, all right, this seems like an okay spot to have a kid. Maybe not optimal, right? I'm not at the airlines yet.
Yeah.
I'm not making crazy money. But you just make the decision. I would say make the decision though. Don't wait till it happens to you. Make it happen to you. And then that'll change your focus of, all right, we're going to make this work instead of, fuck, how do we make this work?
Yeah.
You know, great, this was an accident, whatever.
Instead of fear, it comes from motivation to make the change, to make things happen in your life.
Yeah, and it goes from, okay, I have myself to support in life. Yeah, your spouse, whatever. If they don't have a job, it's like, yeah, I support them too. But it goes from that, like, yeah, I could live on the street if I had to no, I'm going to provide at least a home and food and shelter for this kid and raise them as properly as I can. If you go through and get your career and stuff, your kid may or may not get that quality time with their parents that they deserve. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, yeah, it may suck a little bit, but you can make that work and thrive off of it. And you can find time to spend with your kid. Like this winter, I haven't made shit for flight money because the weather's been bad.
Yeah.
You know what that's provided me? So much opportunity to bond with my child and my wife. It's been awesome. So it's just life happens. It just depends on how you approach it.
Yeah. Damn. Well, that makes sense too. That makes sense to my mind too. Is like when we were talking, like Zay, when you were talking about like the decision between like what if you have kids and then later in life you're like, fuck, I really wish I had a career. I just know, like, I guess it just kind of comes down to a personal decision in the end. Like I think it was more like, it used to be more of a thing where it was like, yeah, you just have kids. That's what you do. That's what you do. You just have kids. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. But like now when it's become more of like, it's a possibility to not, you know, we have condoms, contraceptive pills, all those things. It's changed the climate drastically. It's more of a decision, but like when it comes down to decision making, I guess that's just a personal thing. Like for me recently, like I wouldn't know because I haven't done it yet, but just like looking at it, I'm like, well, at the end of my life, would I be more sad? Like would I feel less fulfilled if I had raised children and not had like this badass career? Or would I feel more fulfilled if I had this badass career and never had children? And I think for me, I would feel like I would feel less fulfilled. Like I'd have more things to be like before I died. Be like, fuck, I really wish I would have. You know what I mean? If it was kids, but I don't know. Yeah.
Fuck it, do it all.
Yeah. Fuck. That's fair, but you know what I mean? Like in the thought of like, oh shit, you know, I have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
And everyone's telling like all of the boys and all of the girls, what you want to do is get a career, and school's like, set yourself up for a career because it's going to be the most important thing in your life. My experience has been I could give a fuck. That's just a way for me to make the money that I can use to have food and a shelter. That's literally it. Yep. Like, and I might enjoy it. I really do enjoy my job. It's like I have fun. I talk to interesting people, you know, cool shit like that. But it's definitely not more valuable to me like than any of my family. Like that's never been a thing. Like if it was a decision between the two, I'd be like, fucking burn in hell. I don't care. You just are a form of me making more wealth.
And then the thought process from there goes, okay, what quality of life do I want to give my kid?
Yeah.
And that's where your career choices come in or whatever. And if I'm selling my time for money, I might as well make the most money for my time and be able to have everything else.
Yeah.
I want to make my cake and eat it too.
Oh, for sure.
And I will. I am.
Yeah. Get it.
So, and it's perfectly okay. One thing I would suggest, if nothing else, like you said, definitely have kids. Career or not, it's the way to go. You're bringing a whole nother soul, whole nother life into this world, and adding to the whole. Whether the world is good or not doesn't fucking matter. There's always been good and bad. There always will be. Adapt, improvise, overcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
That was Noah's TED Talk.
Yeah. Hashtag Bear Grylls.
Damn. Huh. That's cool though. It definitely has been like a big thing though, and and I feel a lot of that's come from like the ability to just be able to have sex without it meaning any, like without it having like big heavy attachments. Like there's still the off chance, but it's just like consequences being right in your face or far away. It is the off chance. But fuck, like for me before I went into it, I was like before I went into sex in my life, I was like, okay, this terrifies me beyond all fucking ken. Like that is the most terrifying idea, or at least it was to me, like because it is all of the responsibility of a kid. If I'm choosing to have any sexual relation with a girl, any at all, that burden actually legally does lie on me. It doesn't necessarily lie on her. Like it's going to, because that kid is, well, she can choose to get an abortion or whatever. I can't choose for her to do that. But do you know what I mean?
You can't
like,
choose for her to not do that.
Yeah,
too,
that's
which
what I'm
is
saying.
Fucked.
That's what I'm saying. You can't choose for her to not do that.
Yep.
And so, like that for me, I was like at the beginning, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm choosing into this, I have to be ready to. So like, there's always been that like brace. Like, like fucking, it might happen. If it happens, just I have to jump on board, or I get to jump on board. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting just to think about like how much that fucking changed the landscape of existence. Because like for all of human existence, I don't even think there was a time before that we had any sort of contraception, was there?
Yeah, they've had contraceptives for thousands of years.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I guess not wide scale or broad scale like that, though.
Yeah, it wasn't broad scale
Widely
marketing
available.
Stuff. Usually it was like natural plants and stuff they'd use, but it's very effective. Yeah.
Oh, really? They were very effective.
Yeah, there's been a lot of very effective ones. I believe there was even a plant that people used to use as a contraceptive. I don't know what it was called, but it basically went out of existence because it got used.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it was very effective.
Oh my gosh, we extinct it because we used it so much.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, I actually didn't know that. But that's interesting to think about though, because I would wonder
Like,
what the
all the way
shift
back
was.
to the Egyptians.
Yeah, the first documentation of a condom was in 3000 BC.
Oh my absolute lord, that's
Not condoms,
powerful.
I'm talking just contraceptives in general, but yeah, that's,
I know, but a condom?
Yeah.
Like that's saying it's
That's-
going back literally
wow.
thousands of years.
But it used to be way less of a thing though, right? Like if you
yeah, it wasn't like a wide scale marketing theme, wasn't for profit and all that shit.
well, like,
necessarily.
and it was more, I don't know. I wonder then what the shift is, because in our culture now versus, I don't know, in 2 generations back, it was
thing
nothing
was
like that.
female contraceptives.
Yes,
that
okay.
was the big thing. Yeah, they've had contraceptives forever, but not female contraceptives necessarily.
Yeah.
Because that's more of a hormonal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The pill, all that jazz.
Which is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not even worth it.
yeah, it messes up. Every girl that I've ever talked to is like, oh yeah, or anyone that's taken it and is willing to talk about it is like, absolutely
Gonna mess
effed
up
up
their
my
hormones.
body.
Yeah.
Effed up everything about my body. Sick
It's
for
terrible
months.
for the girl, but awful for the guy. That's to do with the girl.
There you go.
But it's just interesting because I don't know, like all of my my parents and their generation, like fucking, it was just a thing, popping out kids young, or my grandparents' generation, you just have as many as you could and hope that at least 3 of them made it through, This is a little bit shoddier. Things were just kind of whatever. But I don't know. I don't know a lot of people who are having kids, like outside of like our direct family, because our family is a little bit bigger and pushes that a little bit more. I don't know a lot of people that do that. Like
No.
every single one of them that I know has a dog, and they don't have any plans of having kids because, well, what about my childhood, or what about my youth? I wanna live it up, and then I wanna have a career, and then I'll maybe think about
The
it.
biggest thing that I've heard is what you said is, I don't want to have a kid in this terrible world.
Yes,
It's like,
I've
dude,
actually
this is
heard
like
that.
literally the best time we've ever lived. And think about like back then they used to have kids when like they are struggling to survive, to eat. Like they're still hunting their food and they still had kids. You've got no fucking excuse. But that's what I've talked. Like what people say to me when
I've
I
actually-
ask them.
yeah.
Because I asked everybody. Like, I don't know. I really like to ask people those big questions at work. It's kind of fun to see what their
I do
response
too.
is.
I do too.
And majority don't want kids, and they call like you said, their dog their kid. I don't personally get it.
Irritates me so
I
damn
hate it.
bad.
But I've
Wait till
actually,
you're a dad. And you're just like, it's not even fucking close. Not even close.
But I've actually heard that same sentiment a lot. I think that makes me I know that makes me sad. I think it just kind of comes down to the game versus the candle. You know what I mean? Like, is existence worth its weight? And which is really it's really a question of like what is that saying?
We make existence worth its weight.
Yeah. Well, yes, I would agree with you, but
No, but did you hear me?
we
make existence worth its weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, in people's minds, they look at it and it's the fundamental question of what is it? They said the fundamental psychological question. I forget who this quote is from. Or a philosophical question is whether or not to kill yourself. It's like, is it worth it or is it not worth it? You know what I mean? And a lot of the people that I talk to are like, I don't want to bring a kid into this terrible world. It's not worth it, and it's a terrible place. It'd be better if someone didn't exist than they had to deal with hardship, which I think is such a weird sentiment. 'Cause it's like, you dealt with hardship, I dealt with hardship. Fucking sure, I didn't deal with it as much as some kid in Africa, but are they not worthy of existing because they had hardship?
Existence doesn't happen to you. You happen to existence.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it doesn't matter what fucking world you bring this kid into.
Yeah.
They will happen to the world.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I think that's
Tiny drop of God, you know?
Yeah.
All that shit. It's fucking real, boys. So
I believe it. No, no, honest to God, I hear you. I think that's the truest thing. That it's not like life happens to you and you're a fucking terrible victim of existence. I honestly don't feel that there's any truth in that. And even if there was truth in that, what the fuck is it going to give you to live like that? You're not going to get any head starts.
Right.
No, fucking nature's not giving out concession prizes. You'll get your ass eaten out by a bear. It's real. Shit is real. No, people, I'm for real. It's like, I live in such a great world and such an easy life and people around me do the same thing in America you can watch a cartoon and nature's so sweet. We're fucking up nature. Bitch, fucking go back 100 years. Your ass goes outside and your cooch is getting eaten by a pack of wolves. It's a terrible world. Shit is, but no,
that's
for
still
real.
the case. Go 30 minutes, an hour outside of a
Yeah.
city. There you are.
Yeah, but
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Weather,
Like,
you don't have to go outside of a city.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what I mean though, like that. Yeah, for sure. I definitely hear you on that. It's like the hardship obviously is going to be a part of existence, but is that if there is hardship, does that negate the nature of existence, that it has meaning? I don't know. I just always thought that. I feel like that's what is being stated when it's like I don't want to bring a kid into this terrible world. I'm like, I don't know.
I also
It's the
think
Kind of disconnect from
Go
it.
ahead.
people only get to see the worst part of having kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think big time they didn't grow up with siblings. Maybe they're the youngest or they're the oldest and they had kids around the same age, so they're not really they only get to see the kids freaking out in the aisle at Walmart or screaming. They don't get all the fun or like Noah said, the baby smiling at you, the fun of holding a brand new baby and seeing how sweet. They've never experienced that.
The funnest part is how quickly they learn.
Yeah, see, they never get any of that. People just grow up and they hate kids because they've only seen the shitty part of them, where they're screaming in the aisle.
Well,
or,
also, it's easier to not have a kid than to have a kid. It's easier to go
Yeah.
kill the kid than to actually raise the kid. And what do we like what is this culture about? Choose the easiest, most simple, quick path. That's to kill the kid instead of have the kid. And that just is what it is. So yeah,
Well, but also without
it makes sense.
Yeah, but without congruent perspective, everything's that way. Like, you know what I mean? Our minds are wired. It's like easiest, fastest, most rewarding. That's how my brain's wired. At least, like if you don't
Having
have the
the
congruent,
kid.
yeah,
Is that path
yeah,
guaranteed?
with the most
I
rewarding.
agree.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, but if we're all taught to not have a family from
Yeah.
the start,
Right.
yeah,
right,
then
you're
it's
misinformed.
easier to kill the kid. It's
Yeah.
like,
You're misinformed on the reward.
And from this aspect, the reward would be having sex. It's a great time.
yeah.
The result, simple. Get rid of it. So that's the reward. Now, if you have the kid, yeah, of course, it's beautiful to have it,
Right,
smile
right.
and all that, but it's just the culture that we're raised in. And that's why we get to be the change. At least I get to be the change because, yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, though. I actually never heard it put that way, that we're told that the reward is sex. Like, the good thing about sex is the feeling. Like, not, or like, it's not about like the procreation of it, or like what the worth of that is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when we were working on having our kid, or we'll say creating our kid, you also try to make sure. I was making sure that we were in a good space in the relationship and in life, all this stuff, where it was like, not this kid will be created in love from the very beginning. It's not going to be, because you got all sorts of different types of sex. It's like whatever, but if you start with the end goal in mind of this kid is going to be the most loved and the biggest benefit in my life, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Which
And-
I feel is a rare outlook these days.
And every time you have sex, expect to have a kid.
Long live the virgins.
Virginity rocks.
Long live the virgins or the constantly terrified. I find myself amongst the latter group. But no, I think that's a really powerful outlook, because obviously that's something that I want in my life, but I never really considered like all of those angles like that. Like with it being, like especially when I was talking about like, you said we make it worth the wait. We happen to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very powerful. It's cool.
You've heard the term "the world is your oyster."
Oyster fucks you up sometimes.
Oyster's good.
You gotta watch out for them oysters.
Yeah. So for the listeners out there that do not have a kid yet, I mean, do as much correctly that way as you can, but don't wait because of career or any of this stuff. I know plenty of people with great careers who had kids even young, and they did fine. They just chose to create something better, and they chose way harder than their peers.
Well, right, and you think, like, both of our grandpas just died. Like, think about how many people, how much there was there.
They created a whole ass company over it,
Yeah. I mean,
while they were having kids.
there's just, plus, the love and the life that you bring to funerals, and, like, you look, I know Grandpa, they looked at it, he had, from him, was, like, 560 people. Like, think about, like that's an impact on a large impact on a world. 500 people.
Like,
That's pretty close to what Grandpa Gary's was too.
Right. I mean, it is
Yeah.
so much impact on the world.
if you're out there fucking single-handedly creating a militia, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But no, that is very beautiful. Like, especially you think about how much impact one person has on the world. Well, is my impact just the people that I meet or the things I interact with, or is it the people that I interact with, how they interact with people from how they interacted with me? So it's like, it really does. You really could say, like, especially with that many people, you're literally having a notable impact on the world, I'd imagine.
You're like 2 steps away from affecting, 10 million people, something like that. Yeah.
So fucking
Now
cool.
imagine if you have 500 people
Holy
2 steps away from 10 million. Whoa, there you go.
That's so cool, though.
Wild.
Fuck, they used to have them in bundles, though. Can we talk about that? They used to have kids in the dozens. We're out here like
That was probably due
Survivability.
to the culture again.
Yeah.
And lack of common knowledge of contraceptives.
Yeah.
Grandma had 17 kids. Grandma
Yeah.
Tawny. So.
Also to take care of the farm.
Yeah.
Hello, baby.
That too, to help take care of the farm and all that jazz.
That's what it was for the older days. Take care of the animals, who's going to harvest the crops, all that. So yeah, it does come down to culture, I guess.
Yeah.
You
Makes
had
a
to
little
make your workforce.
Essentially.
Literally.
Yeah, after
It's either slaves
1865,
or-
you had
Yeah.
to make your own workforce.
Can I hold her?
Oh, yeah. I'll hold her. Get a picture real quick. Yeah.
Speaking of babies, my sister had hers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, he's freaking adorable.
Aw.
Yeah.
He's so cute, dude.
His name's
Scotty Whalen
Oh, that's super
or
cute.
Scott Whalen.
Scott Whalen. That's awesome. How is the baby, her dad?
Good. I mean, tired, obviously, but so
Sure.
far as I know, everything's been great. Got a little dicey there for a minute when they had the baby, but other than that, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, so she had to get a C-section, but it was an emergency C-section, and
Shit's fucked.
she had so she had already gotten the epidural, but they started this surgery before they gave her any anesthesia because they needed to do it now.
Oh, wow.
Like they were saying that the doctor was like, "Can you feel anything?" And she was like, "No." He's all, "Good, because we've already started." And just
Christ the Lord.
yeah, they had to do
Wow.
it usually is a 15-minute surgery. They had to do it in 2 minutes. So it got a little dicey there for a minute, but everything turned out well.
Because
15 in
why?
2 minutes?
What was wrong with the
'Cause
baby?
the baby's heart rate was going from like 140 to 40, and they just
Oh,
they
wow.
had to get the baby out now.
Wow.
So yeah, they said the doctor had to come in and apologize because they could cut her crooked because they had to do it all fast. And
Shit.
But he saved the baby
Yeah.
and
yeah,
the mama.
everybody's all good. Yep.
That's beautiful. I'd rather a
Trauma
crooked-ass
central.
story. Yeah.
Scotty was looking pretty rough.
Ooh.
Yeah, I bet.
I
She
can only
knows-
imagine.
She had gotten the epidural, and she said she was just pumped full of drugs, so she didn't know.
She felt no
She was
pain.
kind of out of it, but Scotty wasn't. Because
Yeah.
they said the monitor just started beeping, and then everybody just started running into the room, and they just gave Scotty a thing. Put this on now. We're going to surgery. Go. And then it was just,
Fuck.
That'd be so nerve-wracking.
Oh, my fuck.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
fuck.
I would absolutely lose my gourd. I know that Noah went through that too. That's fucking
Yeah,
traumatic
see-
shit, though. That's real.
went and seen Scotty, and she obviously Scott's eyes were just fucking bloodshot, and he can see him every 2 seconds pulling out his in.
Poor
That's
boy.
how I'll be for sure.
Pick up smoking just for that.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious, dude.
That sounds fucking trauma central, though.
For sure.
But God bless, though.
Yeah.
What, good thing it all went well after that little hiccup.
You need a
Yeah,
shot
so
of
far
whiskey
everything's
to
great,
calm
love.
your nerves.
How is she holding up after that? How has
Good.
her body been
So
doing?
it's
Great.
not hurting too much anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mostly good. So
Isn't that so fucking crazy how the body can bounce back, especially women's when they're having kids and all that?
oh yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And they're back to their house or still your parents' house?
They're back at their house.
Wow.
And they were at my parents for like 3 or 4 days.
Scotty's already back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man.
Scotty doesn't know.
Man.
He's a sweetheart though. So freaking cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How big?
He was like 6 pounds 14 ounces, something like that.
Oh.
It's a baby. Literally.
It's a whole ass baby. Yeah.
That's a whole ass baby right there.
Did it make your ovaries start to tingle or?
Not mine, but
But Haley?
well, she already wants a baby bad, and then just gets to hold a newborn, and then she's like,
Yeah.
Got the fever.
now.
Well, are you going to? Or are you still going to wait till after your wedding?
Seems like we're going for it.
Oh, really? Are you guys pregnant?
No, not as far as I know.
Not yet.
I don't
Not
think
yet.
so though.
Holy shit. That's
yeah.
crazy, Bessie.
That is
Hopefully
cool.
sooner rather than later though.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Heck
Good
yeah,
for
that's beautiful.
you. Yeah.
Get it, Jess.
What do you want, baby? Or boy or girl?
Okay, I don't care, but
Okay.
Boy,
I've just
Avi.
a boy because it's been in my head since I was born that I'm having a boy first. So
Would you name it Jesse? 3rd generation Jess?
I'd like to, but we'll see.
Jess Mark III.
Very good work, too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll
a
see.
boy.
Yeah, just because being the oldest, it's just always been in my mind that I'm gonna have a boy. There's never been another option, but
Wow.
I'm sure I'll get a girl because I think that. But
Sure. Or you'll get a boy and a girl.
I wouldn't. I would complain, but I'd love it.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be hard, but if you could, there's a chance too, because her mom's a twin. There's a chance you have twins.
Doesn't it skip a generation?
Generally, yeah. So she didn't have any twins. Her
Holy
mom.
fuck. So you're going to get twins.
So there is a chance we could get twins, which would be
Jesus
freaking
Christ.
cool.
It would be
That
cool,
would be
but also,
gnarly.
ooh.
Then you could do one and done.
One
Okay,
and-
that's it.
Or
2 kids
you want
wrapping my fucking tubes.
you just run 3 pregnancies, 6 kids, you're done.
6 kids?
Well, that doesn't. I honestly,
It'd be
I don't know.
I want
Fuck.
like 2 to 3.
I want 3 kids at least, because single family kids with love and respect, they're missing something. You don't want a single kid, and you don't want 2 kids only, because then there's some kind of spoiledness. I feel like 3 kids is the sweet spot, because they get bullied enough that they have humility, they get loved enough that they're guided, and there's enough infighting that they're strong.
I like 4.
I
wanna
like
have
as
4
many as I
kids.
can.
I want to have at least 3, but
I want
Yeah, at
2
least
to
3.
3 and then adopt a black child.
that sounds awesome.
Like, that's what I'm going to do.
That'd
Hell
be
yeah.
interesting.
Should we? You know what I'll do? I'll just adopt a kid from every ethnicity and have them fight for my love. It'll be a race in my home constantly.
Just every morning throw them in the ring. Who's gonna get love and affection today?
You want? Yeah, no. This is what I'll do. I'll get rich as hell and be like, look, if you want my inheritance, you all have to grow up to be the most powerful fighter. You have to beat me in a fight. Become fucking Jacko Willings and just wallop my
Jocko.
Jacko, yeah. No, that's fucking cool though. That would be sick. I actually agree with that. I think it'd be really cool to adopt a kid.
Yeah.
I'd want to adopt a kid really young though.
That's why we take calls, boys. That's why we take calls. Opportunity knocks.
Happen.
I just had someone higher up say that they want to recommend me as a multi-engine instructor for Ogden.
Oh yeah, heck
Awesome.
yeah, Noah, congrats.
So-
Hell yeah.
That's super
So,
cool.
multi-engine, I'd be flying the Seminoles as an instructor.
Is that the one up from Cessna?
Yeah, that's the 2-engine ones. So, and multi-engine time is like gold when you're going to the airlines.
Really?
Sweet.
So-
That's awesome, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Congrats.
Either she's going to recommend me for that and for a lead position, so I'd be potentially a lead instructor at Ogden. Just be,
That's
sick.
awesome.
You get a
which
raise?
also looks really good. As a lead, I would get a raise. I don't know about multi-engine instructor, but the hours for multi-engine are just so much more. It's gold for the
I
airlines.
think it looks better.
Yeah, so right after this, I get to go submit my resume.
Heck yeah. That's
Awesome.
awesome.
That's exciting,
Fuck
man.
yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Opportunity calls, boys.
Opportunity to be knocking.
That's awesome.
Makes me nervous as hell, but let's get it. To do multi-engine, I think I have to go through another in-dock class. So you know how I went out of state and did the week-long in-dock?
Yeah.
I think they'll send someone up to Ogden, and I'll do a in-dock for multi-engine up in Ogden.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we'll be
Wow.
going through school together.
Potentially, yeah. Be fun. Shouldn't be in a week though. Should be just a couple days. Make sure I can fly multi-engine still and stuff. I got to do some studying.
Just kind of clean out the rest
That's
from
awesome.
it, or what?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I think I've got 30 multi-engine hours.
Mhm.
Airlines require a minimum of 50. If I become a multi-engine instructor, I will have hundreds. So
So they'll just be like, come here.
yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, I see your multi-engine time is fantastic." Okay.
Would you just be multi-engine?
Yeah, potentially. I'm not sure. They've had them before where they do both. But we'll
Does
see.
everybody get multi-engine time?
Yeah,
no
at the
matter
end
what?
of your program, you get multi-engine. Yeah.
Do you
They're
feel
just more powerful?
Yeah, basically the multi-engine hours hold a lot more weight than single-engine hours. Either way, I could
Gotcha.
Sweet.
probably get a job pretty easy, but, you know.
That'd be dope. Fuck
do you,
yeah.
do you feel
Young
comfortable?
boys.
Like, do you still feel comfortable driving multi-engine, or are you excited to have that buffer to get like
I'm
a little
excited
bit of the cogs
to
clean?
get back into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
How long's
I
it
could-
been?
I could probably fly. It's been since February, I think,
Mhm.
or March since I've flown one. So,
And-
or even
yeah.
been in one
We're in February.
last year.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
What level of complexity does it go up from a single to a multi?
It's not too bad. There's just different checklists.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
Yeah.
You're using very similar types of engines and stuff, but there's a lot. Like your emergency checklists are different. You definitely don't want to spin in a multi-engine because you will just die. And yeah, just the aerodynamics of it just make it do a flat spin, so you can't recover.
Oh, it's game.
Yeah,
You start
Pretty
spinning,
much.
it's game.
pretty much.
Oh wow, that's extreme.
But you also have them. They're a lot further in their program, so they're a lot less likely to spin a plane.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to recover, but it's going to be
Super tight.
dicey. Yeah, that one would definitely brown your pants.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited. Opportunity calls, boys.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah. We'll see if anything comes. I'm a
Yeah.
very low time instructor compared to some of them,
Mhm.
so I may not get anything. But the fact that I would have a recommendation as well, might happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's sick.
Congrats.
hmm
Yeah.
sorry to just derail everything
No,
like that.
we were over
We were
here
just
talking
shooting the
about
shit.
yeah, we were talking
Okay.
about how many kids we wanted and
yeah.
adopting one child of every ethnicity to have a race war for my love in my home.
Heck yeah.
No, yeah, but yeah, just shooting the shit.
Cool. I do get to wrap up soon, so I can go work on that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully with another guest, and have a good night.
See ya.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
having me. Peace.
Peace out.